One casual answer can turn your simple traffic stop into the first brick in a criminal case against you. And your own words can give police the reason they need to dig deeper. Hit subscribe right now because you will forget these lines when your heart starts racing on the side of the road. And like this video so you can find it fast when you or your family actually need it. Here's what you're about to learn, and you need every part of it. You're going to hear the exact sentence that stops you from handing police free evidence. You're going to learn why friendly small talk is often not small talk at all. You are going to learn the one line that blocks a consent search before it starts. And you're going to learn the exit question that tells you whether the stop is over or whether you are still being held. Here is the reality. Most drivers think the danger starts when police find something. It does not. The danger starts when you start talking. I have analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and the pattern is always the same. Drivers talk to seem harmless. Then their own story gets picked apart, stretched, and used against them. Now let us talk about why this hits you so hard during a real stop. You want the officer to like you. You want the stop over fast. So when you hear, "Where are you coming from?" you answer like you're talking to a neighbor. "My boy's house, the bar, my girl's place, just left the dispensary, coming back from a party." You think you're being normal? But most people have no idea that this question is often a test. Police compare your answer to your eyes, your voice, your car, the time, the smell, and your passengers, and whatever else they think looks off. If your answer changes later, even a little, they call it suspicious. If you admit you came from a place tied to alcohol, drugs, or a fight, you just gave them a roadmap. Listen closely, because this is critical. During a regular traffic stop, police usually do not have to read you your Miranda rights before roadside questions. So what you say can still be used against you. The first thing you do is separate the required stuff from the extra stuff. You do have to handle the basic stop. You give your license. You give your registration. You give your proof of insurance if your state requires it. You may have to give your name, but that does not mean you have to explain your whole night. Let me show you exactly what to say. You look at the officer and say this: "Officer, I'm happy to provide my license, registration, and insurance. I do not answer questions about my day." Those exact words. Keep your tone calm, keep your hands visible, then stop talking. Why does this work so well for you? Because it shows two things at once. First, you're complying with the lawful part of the stop. Second, you're not volunteering extra facts that can be twisted into suspicion. That matters more than you think. In Hebel versus 6th Judicial District Court, the Supreme Court said a state can require a person to identify himself during a valid stop in some situations, but the court also made clear that the duty did not mean you had to answer every other question police asked. In plain English, your name may be required. Your life story is not. Former police officers have confirmed this works because it tells them you know the line between basic compliance and free information. Bad way. Most drivers say, "I'm coming from a couple's drinks with friends." Then the officer hears drinks, starts smelling for alcohol, and now your stop gets a lot more serious. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Officer, I'm happy to provide my license, registration, and insurance. I do not answer questions about my day." Then the stop stays focused on the traffic issue instead of your private life. Here's the reality. The officer may act annoyed. The officer may repeat the question in a softer voice. The officer may act like you're making it weird. Do not take that bait. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court because it shows you did not obstruct, you did not argue, you did not volunteer evidence, you just protected yourself. And if you do answer after saying this, you blow the protection you just built. So after you say it, go quiet. If the officer asks again, repeat the same line, same tone, same words. No long speech, no sarcasm, no attitude. That short answer protects you from the biggest mistake on the road, which is talking just to fill silence. Have you ever been asked where you were coming from during a stop? Drop a comment below, because if you have heard that question before, you already know how fast your brain starts rushing. Your second move is to shut the door on self-incrimination before your mouth outruns your brain. If the stop starts turning into an investigation, or if the officer keeps fishing after you gave your documents, you need a stronger line. Here's exactly what you say. "Officer, I choose to remain silent. I want a lawyer if you're investigating a crime." Word for word. Memorize that line. You're not yelling it or trying to sound tough. You're stating your choice clearly. Why is this so important for you? Because roadside questioning feels casual, but it can still produce statements that end up in court. In Berkmer versus McCarty, the Supreme Court said a traffic stop is usually not custody for Miranda purposes. Plain English. Police often do not have to give you the Miranda warning before asking roadside questions. During a normal stop, that means your answers can still be used. This comes from Supreme Court rulings. So if you keep chatting because you think they did not read you your rights, you walk into a problem. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection when the stop starts moving toward possible criminal charges. Watch what happens when drivers ignore this. They try to explain. Then they try to fix the explanation, then they add more details. And every new detail gives police one more thread to pull. I only had one beer. Then later, it becomes 2 beers. But hours ago. Then later it becomes, I am just tired. That looks like a changing story, even if you are only nervous. Bad way. Most drivers say, I had a little bit earlier, but I'm good to drive. Then they have basically handed police a reason to start a DUI investigation. Good way. Smart drivers say, Officer, I choose to remain silent. I want a lawyer if you are investigating a crime. Then there's no new statement to twist, compare, or replay in court. This is 100% legal. You are not required to help build a case against yourself. And no, this does not mean police must instantly walk away. It means you stop giving them free bricks. If they keep asking, you keep your answer short. If they pause, you stay quiet. If your passenger starts talking for you, you stop that too. Your silence only helps if you actually stay silent. Let me show you exactly what that looks like in real life. The officer says, So why are you being nervous? You say nothing. The officer says, If you did not do anything wrong, why not answer? You repeat your line once, then you stop. That is how you protect your rights without a roadside argument. Now your third move is the line that blocks one of the biggest traps on the road. If the officer asks to look in your car, your trunk, your bag, or anything else, your answer must be immediate. You say this, Officer, I do not consent to any searches. That is it. No extra words, no jokes. No unless, no I guess. Say it clear and stop. This is 100% legal. And yes, you should say it even if you think there is nothing to find. Why do you need this line so badly? Because consent kills arguments later. If you say yes, or even sure, I do not care, you may have just handed over Fourth Amendment protection. In Schneckloth versus Bustamante, the court said a consent search can be valid even if police never said you could refuse. Plain English. You do not get protected just because you did not know better. In Ohio versus Robinette, the Supreme Court said police do not have to tell you that you're free to go before they ask for consent to search. Plain English again. Police can ask. Your job is to say no. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court because it makes the record clear. You refused. Bad way. Most drivers say, yeah, go ahead. I've got nothing to hide. Then the officer gets a full consent search, and you cannot take that yes back later. Good way. Smart drivers say, Officer, I do not consent to any searches. Then if police search anyway, your refusal is on record and your rights are still preserved for court. Watch what happens next, because this part matters. The officer may say, why not, if you have nothing to hide? That question is bait. The officer may say, it will only take a second. Still bait. The officer may act offended. Still bait. Your answer does not change. Officer, I do not consent to any searches. If they search anyway because they claim they have legal grounds, you do not fight. You do not reach. You do not argue on the roadside. You let your refusal stand. Then your lawyer fights later. That is how smart people protect themselves. Not by wrestling over rights on asphalt, but by making the record clean. Former police officers have confirmed this works because many searches happen only because drivers say yes. 90% of drivers do not know what is coming next, and this is where you stop a fishing trip. If you are still here, you are already ahead of almost everybody. Drop a comment saying, I am still here. Well, your fourth move is the exit question, and timing is everything for you here. Use it after documents and the traffic mission have been handled, especially after paperwork comes back. A lot of stops end on paper, but keep going in conversation because drivers do not realize the mission is over. So you ask this, Officer, if the traffic stop is done, am I free to leave? Or even simpler, am I free to leave? Why does this help? Because it forces a clear moment. Either you are free or the officer is keeping you there. Rodriguez versus United States says, a stop cannot be stretched longer than needed without independent suspicion. Arizona versus Johnson says they can ask unrelated questions if they do not measurably extend the stop. So your exit question matters because it tests whether this is still a traffic stop or now something else. Bad way. Most drivers say, so, is there anything else? Then they stand there nervous and keep chatting. Good way. Smart drivers say, Officer, if the traffic stop is done, am I free to leave? This is 100% legal, and it is cleaner than arguing about case law on the roadside. If the officer says yes, you leave. Not one more story, not one more joke, not one more answer. If the officer says no, then you know the stop has moved into detention, and that tells your lawyer a lot. Now tie these cases together. Hebel, Berkemer, Schneckloth, Robinette, and Rodriguez provide the full legal picture. Let me show you the real world. Taillight is out. Wrong move. You smile and talk about leaving a friend's house. Then the stop explodes because you admitted to drinks and gave consent for a search. The right way? You give documents, say you do not answer questions about your day, and invoke silence. You refuse the search and ask if you are free to leave once the traffic business is finished. Lock these 4 moves in. Subscribe for the weed smell video next week. Smash the like button and stay safe.